You're praying about your finances, but you see nothing. You're praying for your marriage, your family members, but you see nothing. You got a report from the doctor, but you are praying for healing, but you see nothing. At work, in your company, you're seeing nothing. You got a dream, but nothing. Friends, you may see nothing, but you can bank on the fact and the promise of the resurrection that because Jesus is alive, when you see nothing, it means that Jesus is up to something. He's at work. He's not constrained to time and space. He has no limitations. Right now, he is sorting your life. He's figuring things out. He is always at work. When you don't see, he's moving. When you don't feel, he's fighting. When there is silence, it doesn't mean he's still. You may be down to nothing, and that just means God's up to something.
You gotta understand, God wastes nothing. Be careful, because the enemy loves to tempt us, loves to make us think that we have wasted seasons of our lives. But because of God's sovereignty and because of God's providence and because God knows both beginning and God knows end, we can trust that God wastes nothing, because you never know where God wants to take you, because God is using it all.
Over and over again in the Bible, we're told to wait upon the Lord. When you don't understand, don't be unwilling to wait. I was speaking about preachers. Another preacher said to me, who was in a hard spot, he said, I know that God put me here. I just wonder if he remembers where he put me. God knows where you are. The very hairs of your head are numbered. God has his schedule. When you don't understand, don't demand to understand. Don't fail to be faithful. Don't bow to bitterness. Friend, don't be unwilling to wait. God is never late, but he's never ahead of time. It's like the sun coming up. One thing about the sun coming up is you can't hurry it and you can't stop it. And that's the way God is. God is always on time.
Job says, I look and I go forward, but he, speaking of God, he is not there. And backward, but I cannot perceive him. When he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. And when he turns and I turn and go right, I can't see him then. Verse 10, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Powerful words. It's obvious that Job is in a time in his life where he's saying, God, where are you? He's saying, God, where are you? You seem unconcerned, absent, and silent when I need you the most. He had lost his family, his children. He had lost his wealth. He had lost his health. He had lost his friends. He had lost everything good in his life. And now in chapter 23, he's lost his God. He's lost his God. I mean, that's when you really hit the place about as low as you can go, when you can't find, you feel like you're God abandoned. The absence of God is unexplained. He's not there. God, where are you? He said, I just don't see him. I just keep going through it. But I love what he said at the end of it, the conclusion of it all. His conclusion is, I don't know where I am anymore. I don't know what's going on anymore. He said, I don't know where he is, but he knows where I am. For he knows the path that I take. Did you hear that verse? He knows where I am, even when I don't know where he is, and I can't perceive him, he knows my name. He knows the number of hairs on my head. He knows my fingerprint. He knows everything about the path that I am on. And then he ends with a powerful faith confession. And when he has tried me, I will come forth as gold. Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. This story teaches us that God is still working when you think your situation is at its last sickening conclusion. God is still working.
Friends, it is this ideal of waiting and this willingness to wait that is an essential skill of the Christian life. That no matter where we are in our juncture, in our journey of following Christ, waiting is a prerequisite for how we will grow into maturity. That we will discover that waiting on God is always worth it.
And the reality of this world includes things like delay, pain, loss, disappointment, and unmet expectations. Everything significant that God does in this world and in us, it involves long stretches of waiting.
I mean, how do you spend your waiting time is everything. How you spend your waiting season is everything. Waiting time is not wasting time. Waiting time is worshiping time. And in that worship, you can bring wherever you may be in your waiting season. That perhaps you're waiting on the doctors to tell your loved one they are cancer-free. Or perhaps you're waiting on a relationship to get better. Or perhaps you're waiting on the Lord to send a relationship that you long for. That in our waiting, we must worship. And in our worship, we must trust him by bringing our disappointment and our faith and our desperation. That God, it has not been easy. God, it has been challenging. God, the uncertainty has been incredibly difficult. But God, I am trusting you for what you're going to do, and I am trusting you for how you are going to work in my life and through my life. That he is a God that's always worth waiting for. That he is a God that has not forgotten about us. That he is a God that has a sovereign plan that he is working. That he is the same God that called you from the very inception. He is worth waiting for.